Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to today, Sabbath, the 28th of December, 2024, which seems to be the last Sabbath of this Gregorian calendar year, by which we are using now. Okay, and so this morning we'll be looking at a subject entitled the health reform. The health reform. So in this a study that we started with Brother Keagan, we discovered quite. Oh, sorry, I said health reform. We finished the health reform. Pardon me. We are looking at the medical missionary. Medical missionary. I was stuck with the previous title. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so we are looking at the medical missionary. And so before we begin, we are going to have our prayer thought coming from Entering Wedge, page 3. Entering Wedge, page 3, which is displayed on the screen saying, okay, let me just maybe try to enlarge it for, oh, sorry, that was too much. Okay, somewhere there. Okay. Entering Wedge, page 3, is where our prayer thought is coming from this morning. Okay, since I've enlarged that one, let me just use my phone to bring there. Okay, so it says, this is under the subtitle saying this booklet's mission. So we want to see what is the mission of the Entering Wedge in line with this medical missionary work that we are learning today. It says, the reader will well appreciate the fact that the importance of this health-bringing agent is in some respects similar to that of the gospel, because no home, be it Christian, Jewish, or heathen, can afford to be without a copy of it, and the gospel's first concern being one's health, this heaven-sent agent is, therefore, the entering wedge for Bible and colporteur work, and it will, if rightly used, not only open doors and hearts to the gospel of all time, but also to its meat in due season, the message of the hour, the everlasting gospel. Revelation 14, verse 6. Hence, those wishing to engage in such a worthy cause can more successfully labor with this appealing friend-making, heart-changing, and body-building forerunner. Okay, so that is what our prayer thoughts coming from Entering Wedge, page 3, states that we need to be well equipped in health reform matters, that we may be able to be sent on God's errands to do an lasting work by taking the everlasting gospel, which is the message of the hour, to the people. So we are told to say no family needs to miss a copy of this one. And so for those of us that are online, if we don't have a copy of the Entering Wedge, please feel free to request for one. With that in mind, we shall kneel down as we seek the Lord in prayer. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for your love and care that you have for us, especially that you have seen it fit that in your name we may meet or gather in this manner, that we may learn what it takes to be true medical missionaries. We thank you for the entering Wedge that has shown us that added to the medical missionary work is also the everlasting gospel. May you therefore help us to blend both, that our work may be complete as you have desired. We also want to commit Brother Keagan Banda as he takes us through this wonderful lesson, that may you impart upon him a double blessing of the Holy Spirit, that he may be illumined in his mind to share that which heaven has sanctioned. We know and understand, dear Father, that this is a wonderful lesson that is being shared before us, a lesson that is showing us what it takes that we may be able to be complete missionaries and be able to do exploits for thee, even as it is approved of you. May you therefore touch each and every one of us' minds as we listen and as we contribute, that we too may be able to follow along and be impressed by the power of the Holy Spirit in not only understanding and knowing these things, but in being practical in every particular of what is required of us. For this is the chief business that you give us such wonderful studies. This we do ask and pray with thanksgiving in our hearts in Jesus' holy name. Amen. Amen. Okay, so beloved brethren, Brother Banda Keagan is now here, as I was just about to introduce the lesson. So he will pick it up from where he left off. So you can scroll down and, okay, there is a request that we open last day events. Last day events. That is LDE page 80. Okay. Last day events, page 80, paragraph 1. Okay. I read in your hearing. It says, a great work must be done all through the world. And let no one conclude that because the end is near, there is no need of special effort to build up the various institutions as the cause shall demand. When the Lord shall bid us make no further effort to build meeting houses and establish schools, sanitariums, and publishing institutions, it will be time for us to fold our hands and let the Lord close up the work. But now is our opportunity to show our zeal for God and our love for humanity. This statement is also found in Testimonies for the Church, Volume 6, page 440. Thank you.
So, according to that reading, we see that there are people who think that we should not make institutions because the end has come. But that court is forbidding, that such a mind to not allow the people of God to make institutions, gathering houses, schools, and sanitariums. Okay. And the reason why we've read this quote is because that's what also the lesson is going to lead us. It's going to lead us to make sanitariums, schools, in so to speak, we call it the camp. So the quote, according to Ellen White, we have to build to set up the camp or the sanitarium. Okay. So I hope you understand that. So there are a lot of institutions that would not tolerate to make the camp. But the road message tells you. Others, they would say that because we are in the hunting campaign, so therefore we should not make the camp. Hello? Okay. Others, they think as if because we're in the hunting campaign, we should not make the camp. Okay. We are yet to go there into that, but the end is not yet, and the time of the end, it will tell us when, because the signal or the sign when we shall know that it is the time for the end is when the Lord shall demand all the tithe, 100% tithe to him, to himself. Okay, you give everything that you have. That's when the end, that will be the sign that the end has come. Okay. Just like the way he gave the parable saying that there was a certain man who found a good treasure, then hid it in a certain land, then he got all what he had and had to buy it. Okay. That signifies saying there will be a time when us will sell all that which we have and secure for ourselves a kingdom. But right now it's not time to say that we should not make the camp, because the camp is the one that will necessitate the gathering of the 144,000 and those with them, and also it's the one that is going to help or to necessitate the gathering of the great multitudes, because without the gathering of the 144,000, the gathering of the great multitudes will not be there. Okay. So that's the thing you have to understand, because the ones who gather the great multitudes are the 144,000. So then we can begin the lesson. Any questions pertaining to that quote which we've read?
Let's see.
Okay, so if there are no, let me check.
Okay, there is no. Okay, if you have a question, you can freely unmute yourself and ask, or if you want to contribute, you can do that as well. Okay, so yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Okay, I think Brother Ngoma is just joined us. Brother Ngoma, we read a quote saying that it's not time for us to begin to say that we should not build for the Lord because the end is come. Okay, that is from Last Day Events, page 80, paragraph 1. So we should not tolerate such mind to think that we should not build for the Lord. Okay. So we continue with the lesson where we ended from. Let me check this. Let me see. This is okay. Yeah, this is where we ended from. So last time we learned saying that there were schools. Some of the schools which were there was Loma Linda, a school for the training of both nurses and physicians. So this we learned saying that we should have the students, both physicians and nurses. We should be the one who will be training them. That's what we learned from this quote. Because Ellen White wrote saying that as early as December 10, 1905, Sister White had written to Elder and Mrs. Beden, in regard to the school, I would say make it all you possibly can in the education of nurses and physicians. Okay, so we are counselled that we should make the school also for nurses and physicians. Then we are told also in this saying that Loma Linda is to be not only a sanitarium but an educational center. Okay, an educational center. With the possession of this place comes the weight responsibility of making the work of the institution educational in character. The school that is to be established at Loma Linda is to stand in the freedom of the truth. In the freedom of the truth. So Loma Linda was to be an educational center, and it was to stand in the freedom of the truth. Okay, Mrs. White to Elder Baden says, in the work of the school, maintain simplicity. No argument is so powerful as is success founded upon simplicity. You may attain success in the education of students as medical missionaries without a medical school that can qualify physicians to compete with the physicians of the world. Okay, let me reread. It says, no argument is so powerful as is success founded upon simplicity. You may attain success in the education of students as medical missionaries without a medical school that can qualify physicians to compete with the physicians of the world. Okay, so she was emphasizing on simplicity. We can handle conditions just on simplicity. And that which we know is that water treatment also is among the simple remedies that God has provided, which most of people do not understand. But today, the conventional medicine, they have started incorporating water. They know that water is the greatest analgesic today. It numbs pain than any other medicine. Than all other medicines combined, water is the greatest analgesic. That's the reason today they started incorporating it in handling disease. And Ellen, when she says she never failed with hydrotherapy, treating people. So most of people will not come to question you, like those of the conventional medicine of the world. They will not come to question you when they see you use water, simple remedies, okay, and will have success. Let the students be given a practical education. The less dependent you are upon worldly methods of education, the better it will be for the students. Special instructions should be given in the art of treating the sick without the use of poisonous drugs. In harmony with the light that God has given, in the treatment of the sick, poisonous drugs need not be used. So she was emphasizing, saying that in this sanitarium, poisonous drugs should not be used. Okay.
Yeah, Brother Keagan, you are forgetting just to mention where the quotations are coming from, the pages.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So
okay, this is letters from Loma Linda. Okay, I think medical. Let me check. Check it from there. This is LL.
messages.
Loma
Linda messages.
Okay. So it's Loma Linda messages for page 441, paragraph 6. Okay. All that which we read, they are coming from there. So treating the sick without the use of poisonous drugs, she was emphasizing that in the sanitarium, we should not use poisonous drugs. Today, I don't know why the world has changed, because, for instance, meat, according to the Bible foundation, what was supposed to be called meat, it was supposed to be plant-based food. Today they call meat to be the flesh animals, the dead animals, okay, the flesh of dead animals. Also likewise, today what they call medicine is the what you call synthetic or drugs. Poisonous drugs is what they call medicine today. Then the plant-based or the herbs, they call it Munkwala Wachimundu, or meaning it's man-made. I don't know why they've changed. Okay, but in simplicity, the plant-based medicine is the medicine which God sanctioned. Is the medicine which God sanctioned. And because I don't know if it's the whites who have made our mind to be in such a way, but I don't believe that, because the whites, like in America, the country that we admire the most, America, they've started adopting herbal medicine, and they have what you call we call them influencing centers or treating rooms, sanitariums, and schools, okay, run by the world, who are training people in natural remedies in America. There are a lot of schools, unlike here in Africa, meaning that they have learned, saying that in herbal medicine, that's where we find the cure. And there are a lot of practitioners in America who have changed, stopped practicing using poisonous drugs, and they've gone to do lifestyle medicine. Examples of these we know is you can check them out. We have Dean Onish, the best heart practitioner. Okay, it's the one that cured Lincoln. We also have this one, Cardwell. Also, we have Colin Campbell. We have a lot of them that are changed, stopped using drugs. They started using herbal medicine. Okay, so it's not the white mentality that we have adopted. Okay, it's not that. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the sin that has come heavily upon us, because sin makes us suicidal. It makes us suicidal. We crave and like such, which we like things that cure us. Okay, particularly drugs. The drugs, they cure us, so we like things that cure us. Alcohol cures. We like things that cure us. Meat or animals, eating dead animals cures, and we like such. Says the education that meets the world standard is to be less and less valued. The education that meets the world standard is to be less and less valued by those who are seeking for efficiency or efficacy. Okay, so if we want to be efficient in our work, we have to less value the world's education, the standard of the world's education. In carrying the medical missionary work in connection with the work of the third angel's message, we have us who are in connection with the third angel's message, we should value less the world standard of education. They are to be educated from the standpoint of conscience. Okay, so we are to be educated from the standpoint of conscience. Conscience is right and wrong, so we have to know how to distinguish right and wrong. Okay, we have to be able to question, not just to adopt and do. We have to question, saying, what is this? Is it against my conscience, or is it for my conscience? We have to be able to know that. Okay. It says, as they consciously, and faithfully follow right methods, that is conscientiously, in their treatment of the sick, these methods will come to be recognized as preferable to the methods of nursing to which many have become accustomed which demands the use of poisonous drugs. Okay, you're getting it. It says these methods will come to be recognized as preferable to the methods of nursing to which many have become accustomed, which demands the use of poisonous drugs. Okay, so there will be a time when, just like the earlier quote we read, we say that the reason why sanitarium was to be made, it was to convert, to win over the allopathic medicine, the conventional medicine. So if they see simplicity in us, they see simple methods are used, then we'll be able to win over all of them to ourselves. Just like the way they did, they started using what you call hydrotherapy in their treatment. And today they started talking about that Seventh-day Adventist people live longer than any other people in the world. Okay, the reason being, they say, is because of the diet which were given, which they were given by their prophetess Ellen White. Okay, that is a vegetarian diet. So it's very simple. It's because of we are following simplicity and we are following the light which God has given us. That's the reason the world began to talk about us. But today they've stopped talking about us is because we've gone back to eating all these poisonous meat and using poisonous drugs. Okay, that's the reason they've stopped talking about us, and we've adopted the conventional treatment in amongst us Seventh-day Adventists. So we've backslidden. Okay, that's the reason. But the world has stopped talking about us. So we have us to uphold these standards. Moreover, it says, this is later Loma Linda messages. It says, moreover, should we follow the world's methods of medical practice, exacting the large fees that worldly physicians demand for their services? We should work away from Christ's plan for our ministry to the sick. Okay. So I think this is self-explanatory. It says we should not be exacting the large fees. We should not go away from Christ's plan on how he ministers to the sick. He ministered to the sick. This is Loma Linda Messages. That is page 10. So now the question is why establish? Okay, why establish? We looked at last day events saying that we are not forbidden to establish. We have to establish. So then why establish? Testimonies for the Church, volume 7, page 95, paragraph 2. It says, why do we establish sanitariums? That the school who come to them, that the sick who come to them for treatment may receive relief from physical suffering and may also receive spiritual help. So the reason why we establish sanitariums is because it does the dual work to relieve those who are spiritually afflicted and also those who are physically afflicted. Because of their condition of health, they are susceptible to the sanctifying influence of the medical missionaries who labor for their restoration. You know, a person when he's sick is vulnerable. So because of their condition, either physical or spiritual, they become susceptible to the sanctifying influence of the medical missionary of the medical missionaries who labor for their restoration. So then, therefore, that's how it becomes the entering wedge. Okay, so if they become susceptible, meaning you can tell them the truth, and if they see that they are restored, they have belief in God. That's how they will tend to believe. Even during the time of Christ, that's how people began to believe on him, because he performed more miracles than he did preach. And most of the people, through the miracles performed by him, they believed on him. Okay. And they were following him. So it was the work made easy. Even when he had to go to leave, the disciples, which graduated to become the apostles, it was easy for them. Peter was preaching one sermon, converting, is it 3,000 people in a day? So it will be easy for us, even in the time of the loud cry message, if we will leave such an effect to the world that we saved many lives, many people, and during the time when we shall be gathered into the kingdom, a lot of people will be flocking to us. Will be flocking because we are going to leave a lot of effects. We are going to leave the sanitarium work, or the work of the sanitarium, healing the people. Number two, we are going to leave the confidence message. Okay, the message that when we shall give to them, and the people, they shall see that whatever we spoke, it will materialize, it will happen. So they'll be able to believe, saying, okay, these people are the ones who say that the confidence will be like this, and it did happen. And they say that they shall go to the kingdom, and it did happen. So, and again, they were good, a benefit to the society. They were not spongers. So they'll be able to visit, to go to the kingdom. So it will be easy for us to gather them, to take them to the kingdom. Yes.
Yeah, I think I want to appreciate what Brother Keagan has just brought out in these, at least the three statements so far that I've been able to see. He asked a pertinent question to say, does the world still talk about us? Okay, so there are many factors that we as Seventh-day Adventists have removed ourselves from being talked about. And these have effects that are right upon us. So let me just add one more. Apart from the sanitariums that we are not running, and also the health message that we are not practicing, and ourselves not being missionaries that are supposed to convert the world through these simple remedies, and the fact that God is now seeing it fit that we may be able to learn these things, I want to add something else that we, as a people, have lost. That even the world now is happy. It is not. It actually is ignoring us, to say the truth. Inspiration in special testimonies to ministers and workers. Number 6. That is SPTA 06, page 26, paragraph 1, says the following. This is what Sister White was writing. I want us to follow these things plainly. Because why I'm quoting this is, it is to remind ourselves that just like when the children of Israel were in, or should we say the people of Judah, yeah, because when you talk of Israel, we're talking of the 10 tribes, but Judah, the 2 tribes, when they were in their own land, and God anointed or appointed Jeremiah to tell them that they would go into captivity 70 years, they refused. That would not happen. Just as well, the comment that I want to read, Sister White was writing, and it has happened, and most of us do not even care. That's why you see that the world is not talking about us like Brother Keagan was asking. Here, Sister White says, who will now understand these things that I write? There are men who have known the truth, who have feasted upon the truth, who are now divided between infidel sentiments. So do you see the biggest problem now we have? It is infidels have infiltrated the SDA such that they have led us to forget our true calling. And so it says, there is only a step between them and the precipice of eternal ruin. The Lord is coming, but those who venture to resist the light that God gave in rich measure at Minneapolis, who have not humbled their hearts before God, will follow on in the path of resistance, saying, who is the Lord that I should obey his voice? The banner the banner all will bear, who voice the message of the third angel, is being covered with another color that virtually kills it. So, do you see why we have stopped existing as a people? We have covered the banner of God, of the three angels' messages, with another color. And us, when you look at the banner that we have that of a flame and a Bible now. When you ask people, say, what are the flames? They say, it is the three angels' message. And known to them that actually we have covered the banner with a what? Another color, which has virtually killed the SDA church. So we are told to say, this is being done. So when Sister White was writing this statement, she's saying this was being done to remove that banner. Okay? Our people now hold fast to the truth. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. This is our standard. Hold it aloft, for it is the truth. Now you see, just like we are learning of the sanitariums, they are not here. The banner is not here. So do you see that we have a work to do? Now we are living past the period that Sister Watt was saying that we should protect it. Now that we are being brought on the stage of action, when they have already been removed, you see that our work now has become more difficult because we are even speaking or fighting against those people who call themselves who? Servants of God. And yet they have been doing what? The work of Satan in bringing the truth of the three angels' messages down. And so, when you look at the same truth about the banner, when we go to evangelism, page 281, it says, it is at this time, I'm reading paragraph 1, 281, paragraph 1 says, it is at this time that the true Sabbath must be brought before the people, both by pen and by voice. As the fourth commandment of the Decalogue, and those who observe it are ignored and despised, the faithful few know that it is the time not to hide their face, but to exalt the law of Jehovah by unfurling the banner on which is inscribed the message of the third angel. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So do you see, beloved, just like Brother Keagan was saying that, are we still being recognized? Are people talking about us? The truth is, we have been ignored. Why have we been ignored? We have lowered the standards. We are failing to heal the sick through the building of the sanitariums. We are failing to uphold the banner of the third angel's message. That means a lot to the world. Given time, I'll be able to give you another quote that tells us that when you look at the three angels' messages, if they are inscribed on our banner as a church, they were invoking a lot of questions to people, say, what kind of a banner is this that people are putting on, which have three angels' messages? It meant that both the questionnaire and the person who is bearing the banner needed to know what the three angels' messages are, so that he may explain them well. So in understanding them, he was helping the world. He was helping take the gospel to all nations, right? Now that the banner is not there, we ourselves, the Seventh-day Adventists, are ignorant. How much more of the sanitarium and other things? So you will see that right now we are walking in the footsteps that the devil loved. And most of us, to say the truth, we are following vices. Anyway, I will add more as we continue. Thank you so much, Brother Keagan.
Any more contributions or questions pertaining to that which you presented?
Oh, okay. Brother Ngoma is saying, sorry, I missed the quote. Would you kindly share? Which one? Which was saying what, my brother? So sorry that we've seen.
The one. Yours. This is 56. 56.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean the codes that I gave? Okay, let me give those ones again. It is S, I'm sure it is the one. S, capital S, small p, T A 06. That is special testimonies to ministers and gospel, which also and workers, number 6, page 26, and I read paragraph 1. I'm sure that is the one that you wanted. Thank you.
Okay, Brother Ngoma. Yes, Brother Manalua.
You have a comment?
Brother Keagan?
Okay. Yeah, yes, Brother Ngoma.
Yes. It was I thought it would be typed in the chat section. It was a ST what?
He
The code?
wants you to type it.
Oh, okay. I type it for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, or maybe as I was about to type, you can hear me now. It is S, small p, capital T, capital A, 06, page 26, paragraph 1. Did you get that?
S, that's capital S, small p,
P,
capital T, capital A, 06, page 26, paragraph 1.
yes.
Thank you so much, brother.
You are most welcome.
Okay. So we have learned so far saying that we have to establish, once we establish, it will be the educational center. The sanitarium will be the educational center. Then also we have learned saying that why we establish is because we have to minister to both those who are sick, to both physical and spiritual, so that they become susceptible to the truth, Then also we looked at saying the reason why the world has stopped talking about us is because we have lowered the Christian standards, the standards of the sanitarium, and also we have changed the banner. The Seventh-day Adventist banner was changed. Okay, there are a lot of people that do not know that the Seventh-day Adventist banner was changed, and a lot of infidels or those who do not believe in God, they've crept into the church, the Seventh-day Adventist church. They are the ones who are engineering, controlling the Seventh-day Adventist church. Okay, which most of the people, they are not comfortable to talk about. They trust in the leading brethren. That's what they do. If you talk against the leading brethren, they can kill you. They are able to kill you. Okay, and we have drunkards in the church. They can even strangle you, like during the time of Victor Tacho out. Okay, so these people, they are mad people in the church. If they hear you talk about anything, they've even deacons, they do not know what the work of the deacon is. They think as if the work of the deacon is to sort those people who are against the church. Okay, that's what they think. Instead of guarding the law of God and making sure that the law of God is not sacrificed, okay, is not nailed or is not mixed with error, but instead they just begin to sort people out in the church. That is sad, just like the way it was sad during the time of Jesus Christ. The Pharisees became people who began to sort the disciples out and to speak against the truth. MM27 paragraph 3, that is medical ministry. Okay. This is it says an honor to God. It says the sanitarium was established in the order of God that men and women might better understand the virtues of the tree of life. You understand when you read, do you know that we still have the tree of knowledge? Do you know that we still have the tree of knowledge? The tree of knowledge did not, that tree which they ate is called the tree of knowledge. Knowledge. Do you know that that tree is still there? It says the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life is still there. That's what Council tells us. Okay, let me just give you this quote so that you see. Do you have the medical manual? The homeschool manual. You have it.
Maybe I check from this one.
Yes, any. Even this.
Or even
No, I think there's a blue one you're going to find it. Homeschool manual. This is, let me show you. Homeschool manual. Most of people, they think that this is no longer there. That's not true.
oh, the way you are telling. Okay. Homeschool manual page.
You found it?
Which page do I go to?
Just go in it, in the same page, in the book.
Here, I got homeschool manual. It's brought to this one.
Okay, you can still go. Then check tree of, just do tree of knowledge. You'll find it. Yes, in the book. Tree of knowledge. Not this. Okay, now you're in the book. You can search in the book. Just read this.
Tree of
knowledge. Okay, just okay, it's this one. It's the 7.
Okay, so I'm reading in the book Tree of Knowledge.
No, that's not in the book.
Oh.
You see, homeschool is the book.
Home, okay, Home and Church School Manual. Thank you. I'm reading from the book Home and Church School Manual, and this is on page 140, paragraph 9. Sorry. This is page 9, paragraph 1. Yeah, page 9, paragraph 1. It is also found in the book called PH 140. Okay, I read. It says, age after age, the curiosity of man has led him to seek for the tree of knowledge. And often he thinks he is plucking fruit most essential when, like Solomon, he finds it altogether vanity and nothingness in comparison with that science of true holiness, which will open to him the gates of the city of God. Human ambition has been seeking for the kind of knowledge that will bring self-exaltation and glory and supremacy. The result has been centuries of darkness and error. Men have introduced human theories, thinking as did our first parents when tempted by Satan to eat of the tree of knowledge, that they would thus become as gods. But these sentiments are not in harmony with the word. The one, the word of God, is a tree of life. The other is the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge, and all who pluck and eat of this possesses a disordered imagination.
So we have seen that the tree of knowledge of good and evil is still there. I am Brother Mnarola. You've seen there, saying that the tree of knowledge is still there. It is the worldly school. And the council has told us saying that we should not adopt his standards. Okay. And once we adopt, we are mixing the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We're going to mix. Therefore, it is going to have a bad influence. Okay. Therefore, we're going to have a bad influence in our sanitarium. So when we make our sanitarium to honor God, we are going to bring better understanding. The people are going to understand the virtues of the tree of life, not the virtues. Actually, those are not even called the virtues from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They are not called virtues, because virtues are what? What are virtues? What are virtues? According to Peter, what are virtues?
Okay. Behavior showing high moral standards.
Okay. So the right behavior that is showing the high moral standards, moral right standards. Okay. So we are going to understand the virtues of the tree of life. In his mercy, God has made the sanitarium such a power in the relief of physical suffering that thousands are drawn to it to be cured of their maladies. And very often they are not only cured physically, but from the Savior they receive the forgiveness of their sins. And they identify themselves completely with Christ, with his interest, his honor. They receive the grace of Christ and go forth to impart to others the light of truth. The Lord makes them his witnesses. Can we realize how much God is glorified by this work? Okay. So we see that God is glorified because this is going to bring the high values of Christian standards, and people are going to understand the benefit, the reason to why God brought the tree of life, which is his word, okay, which is the tree of life today, is his word, okay, and God is going to be honored because these people are going to receive Christ, and also they are going to be cured of their physical maladies. Both physical and spiritual is going to be ministered to. That's what this quote is saying. And this is never done in the what? In the allopathic medicine, in the hospitals. This is never done. Okay. Most of them in there, after when you enter in the room, in the allopathic room, medicine, you discover that a doctor seems as if he's a god. Those are my gods. They say if you want to know people who think as if they know everything are doctors. They think as if they know everything. But when you look at the spirit of the spirit of Christ, Christ never appeared like to know everything. He never did that. Christ, he never even brought arguments pertaining to, but he knew everything. He knew every part of the living machinery. That is every organ, every system. He knew, but he never argued with them. And them, they think they are there for self-egotism, but that should not be the spirit. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add to say, we are learning quite interesting aspects here, brother Banda. Yeah, because you see that God is trying to help us shift, more like make a paradigm shift from the educational system that we have received from childhood, because it is alien to that true education of God. In short, we see that all that we have been feasting from when we were born, being sent to school, much of it, now I'm not saying everything, but much of it was actually drifting us to think that our wisdom and our finding out, like the example I've given of doctors, those of us that have gone before doctors, we know what it means. They will be, this one, what happens is this. They are quick to show that they understand. But given a few days, when that medicine and prescription doesn't work, you will find another doctor who comes again with, I know it all kind of what says, who prescribed you with this? Are you getting that? Trying to show that, more like to demean the other. Now, what I've appreciated is God telling us that we have been feasting on the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now the time has come that we turn our attention and go now to seek the tree of life. We're taught to say the truth in Christ is the tree of life. So that point should not go without our particular attention, because it speaks volumes. The fact that we lack the wisdom of Christ has led us to all these things. And the last point you made touched my heart, because even us as Davidians, we have actually helped to close the hearts of the people to the truth by our conduct, because it's like we go to elders and call them, these they don't know us, hey, come to us, what? So that attitude and that behavior, it has been detrimental to the advancement and to the cause of God. If indeed we want to be like Christ, he says he's lowly and meek. Learn of him. So let us learn of Christ. I thank you for that submission. Thank you.
Thank you. So we see from this, actually, anyway, I'll divert. Let me just concentrate here. What is the sanitarium? Let me check. What is the sanitarium? Here, the quote, Medical Ministry 26 to 27 says, sanitariums are needed. Sanitariums are needed in which successful medical and surgical work can be done. Most of the people today, I don't know why we do not, appreciate this. Ellen White, she said that we should also incorporate surgical work in the sanitarium work. The reason to why we should incorporate surgical work in the sanitarium work, she says, one, we are going to win those who are called the elite, because today who call themselves educated, they think as if when you perform high-tech medicine, such as surgery, they will think, say, this one is educated, so they will be attracted to you. So Ellen White says, okay, this also will be the way of evangelism. Because if they know that these people, they are able to do high-tech, such as surgery, then they'll be able now to follow us and to hear what we know. Okay. And they'll be able to worship our God. That's the reason, she says. And the other reason is because we'll be saving lives. Because there are a lot of conditions today that most of them today, they've gone into their surgical operations. We have conditions which we have more accidents today than ever before because of roads. During that time, we had less roads, therefore there were less accidents. Okay, and if those people who are involved in the road accident, where are we going to be taking them? We have to be able to know how to handle such people. Okay, if we do not know surgical work, how are we going to be handling those? Then we'll be taking those people into the same hospitals, the allopathic medicine. Okay, so we have to know surgical work. Those people, for instance, who need surgical operation, who have growth, malignant tumors. For instance, the reason to why when you go into research, you discover that surgical work is the work which demanded. The reason to why drugs were founded was because of surgical work. It's called traumatic conditions. Traumatic conditions, that was all drugs. The reason to why drugs were given was for traumatic conditions. Examples of traumatic conditions where someone is involved in the road accident, or someone has malignant tumors, or pain. They were using poisonous drugs or drugs to benumb. Like for instance, there were drugs to benumb the pain. Okay, benumb the pain, so that a person does not feel pain. There were others to poison so that there's no infection. That was the reason. Then they started now finding out saying, okay, we can use these poisonous drugs also to cure other conditions. They started using poisonous drugs also to handle headache, to handle most of the conditions. Instead, from traumatic conditions, they started using the poisonous drugs to handle even simple flus. Simple flus called a person has malaria and other things. Okay, because malaria, the one they use is coartem. It's a mixture of artemisia. There's artemisia in coartem, but is it binded with chemicals. Okay, so they've shifted. All conditions they are using drugs. But if us who are intelligent, who study this, we know that traumatic conditions, for instance, once we adopt surgical work, the surgical work will be able to know that in surgical work, there are drugs that we can use. Emphasis, there are drugs that we can use. Just like the example in the entering work, where it says that once you see a tree is infested or has been attacked by parasites or infection, no matter what we do to the plant, we give it, we water it, we give it nutrition, nothing will happen. What the tree would demand, it is for what? It is for of course, drugs. Okay, you have to spray it with drugs. And also there are two examples he gave there. There's another one where says when someone is amputated or needs amputation, poticing will not work. You get a potice, you get clay, bentonite clay, and you begin to potice. It will not work. Okay. Or herbal poticing, it will not work. Or giving him potion to drink of herbs, it will not work. You need surgery. Then he says a logical thinker would be able to understand this. But if we are not logical thinkers, we will not be able to understand this. We will think as if this is an ancient, but it's not, because surgical work demands some form of drugs to be used. Surgical work. So if we are adopting surgical work in the sanitarium, meaning also some form of drugs have to be used. Okay, because most of the analgesic drugs are anesthetic drugs. Anesthesia, analgesic, all these were therefore because of surgical work, to benumb pain, to make someone not feel pain, so that you do the work of surgery. Okay. And there are few herbs that benumb pain, you know that. There are few herbs. The herbs. Yes. Okay, the herbs that benumb pain is, for instance, anika. Anika, also mpundu. I don't know if you know mpundu. The bark of mpundu is known to benumb pain. Ginger numbs pain. But those when you compare with the drugs that benumb pain, because a person, for instance, a person who take mpundu will still be feeling pain. You can't do surgical work for the person. Okay. But the one that I know a lot is yam. Yam also benumb pain. But you can do yam unless you mix it with other things for you to do surgical work, successful surgical work. Okay. So we have to be intelligent. Anika, yes, does benumb pain. Anika. Okay, they put it in the a lot of pain balm. There's anika for benumbing pain. They started selling it in pharmacies. It's expensive now, anika. But you can't compare with the drugs that completely benign pain. You have to understand it. Okay. Marigold, also benign pain. Calendula. Most of them, but you cannot compare with those drugs which completely benign pain. Others, they make you unconscious, huh? Okay. So we have to know. We have to be, intelligent on how to intervene with drugs and how not to intervene with drugs. We're going to discuss drugs so that we have to be intelligent when it comes to that. Okay. So it says sanitariums are needed in which successful medical and surgical work can be done. Those institutions conducted in accordance with the will of God would remove prejudice and call our work into favorable notice. Call our work into favorable notice. The one I was giving. The highest aim of the workers in these institutions is to be the spiritual health to their patients. Successful evangelistic work can be done in connection with medical missionary work. It is as these lines of work are united that we may expect to gather the most precious fruit for the Lord. Not, for instance, patients come. Then in the sanitarium, as we were looking deficient, people will not. It will be the last. Actually, those people who come to search, it will be the last. They will not come again. They will never come again. If they see you that your hair is looking pale, malnourished, your skin is looking slabby, or your skin is not looking well, it is loose from the subcutaneous muscle. It is more like hanging. They will not be attracted to you. Okay, they want you to look healthy, okay, and to look happy, and in such a way you are going to influence. Even just the skin, you know that even just the skin, a person can say, what do you eat? A person can be, because every time they have rash and stuff, or their skin is not looking okay, they will just say, what do you eat? Or what do you apply? That's the first question they ask. What do you apply? Then you say, no, me, I don't apply anything. I just eat. So, then what do you eat? Then you tell them, then they'll adopt that. They'll adopt your diet. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you see this quotation is very important. Look at where we were told, yeah, to say the point that you had made earlier that was showing us that people are not asking about us. Okay, we are not noticed, in short. Now, Medical Missionaries, page 26, going over into page 27, is telling us that those institutions conducted in accordance with the will of God would remove prejudice and call our work into favorable what? Notice. So you see that we are living at a time that people don't notice the Adventist health message or institutions. You see, you go to SDI clinic, you find that the same medicine you receive at UTH is what you find there. You go to SDA Medical Missionary, page 26, going over into page 27. Okay, so you find that we are more like now have become advertisers of world institutions. Same with education. You may say Rusangu University, but the courses offered are the courses of the world. Are you seeing? So how do they recognize us? Because in essence, it's like we have become more like their third-party merchandisers. We sell their product on their behalf, or we do their business on their behalf. So God now is saying that if our institutions are done in accordance with God's will, prejudice would be removed. Just like Brother Keagan has said that when they see how we look, it will be motivation enough. If they see that we say we subsist on vegetables and then our bodies are looking the worst part of them, they will not be attracted. But if they see that they eat everything and anything and they have problems, they will always be asking us, what do you eat? How come you look this way? Are you seeing? So, like Paul says that our bodies will be letters written within and without. Then people will read from afar. So, beloved, just like a while ago, we are bemoaning a state where we are not doing what God is expecting us to do. But now, God is doing what? Leading us back to where we should be in order to uplift His name and be able to be recognized or noticed in the world that we are doing something. And sanitariums is the way to go. Thank you.
Okay. And now it brings us to a question saying, where, since we've seen saying sanitarium is for the Lord, okay, it's God's design, there's a signatory of God there, then where should it be located? That's the question. Where should it be located, the sanitarium? That's the question which all of us we have to address. 70, page 79, paragraph 1, 70, page 79, paragraph 1, it says, in the night season, I was given a view of sanitarium in the country. It says it should be where? In the country, in the countryside. The institution was not large, but it was complete. It should not be what you call large. Okay? It should be but complete. It should be simple. It was surrounded by beautiful trees and shrubbery trees, beyond which were orchards and groves. Though we are removed from the cities 20 or 30 miles, we should be able to reach the people. Okay, so it should be, the distance should be about 20 to 30 miles from the city limits. Okay, but we should be able to reach the people. And those who desire health will have opportunity to regain it under conditions most favorable. Okay, so the sanitarium should be in the countryside, but should be 20 to 30 miles away from the city limits. And it should have orchards. Okay, you know, there's the way council has told us how to construct houses. We know that. Houses should be constructed on the hill. Sanitarium should be constructed also on the hill. Also, our camp should be constructed on the hill. And the trees should not be near the houses or near the camp. The trees should be away, away, but within the parameters of the camp. Should be away. The reason being, council has told us such a way is that at their house or the place where people dwell in, they should be exposed to what? Sunlight. That's the reason. Okay, because once you put you build a house, then you surround your house with trees, there'll be not enough sunlight entering into the house. Okay, she's told us that. Okay, so the trees, they should be further away from the house so that the house is exposed to sunlight. And here, this is the orchard, the trees, they should be away. Okay, they should be away. You can look, that is not my lesson, but I'm just giving you what council is telling you. So you can do further study on where the tree should be, not near the houses. Council has told us that they should be away from the houses, okay, because of sunlight. So here we have learned saying the sanitarium should be away, just like the camp. The camp should never be in the urban area. Should never be in the urban area. Yeah, we've seen people, of course, even in the road, Shepherd's Road, we've seen people who've established their camps in the urban area, but the road and spirit of prophecy is against such. Okay, it is against God's planning. So therefore, if you follow such, it means that you are not eating from the tree of life. You are eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The sanitarium should be in the places where it's quiet and secluded, where there's tranquility. It's very quiet, because healing, just like when you read the history of TB, before they discover that it's curable, someone just took himself, saying, okay, let me go into the countryside and die. Then he went to the countryside and he started discovering, saying he started getting better because of what? Oh, yes, fresh air. Okay, fresh air there in the sanitarium. I mean, in the countryside, fresh air and water, okay, began to bring healing to him. So healing, according to us, is 8 laws. Okay, 8 laws. We know in the 8 laws there's fresh air there, and the quietness, rest. You cannot attain rest when people are making too much noise. Too much noise cannot bring a healing. Okay, it will worsen a patient. So it says, it is the expressed will of God that our sanitarium shall be established as far from the cities as is consistent. So far as possible, this institution should be located in quiet, secluded places where opportunity will be afforded for giving the patients instructions concerning the love of God and the Eden home of our first parents, which through the sacrifice of Christ is to be restored to man. Okay. So this is the reason to why the sanitarium should be in a place where it is a secluded place. Okay. We know that the Eden home was to be the pattern of all homes. You know that it is because of man. The reason to why we are here in this building is because of how evil man has become. God never intended us to be staying in house. He never wanted us to be staying in houses. He wanted us to be staying outside, to be sleeping outside as well. There are quotes in Ministry of Healing which tells you, saying it is sin to sleep with the windows what? Closed. It's simple. You have to know, use logic, saying, oh, God never intended us to be sleeping in what? Because even in the night we need what? Oxygen. Okay, there was a time when I didn't know how to sleep. I used to cover my what? But every time I would cough a lot, terribly, in the night. Most of people, they do not know the reason why they cough in the night or they have coughs. It's because maybe we sleep in the windows are closed, and also we cover the blankets. Right? So we need fresh air. So where there's fresh air, open air, there's in Ministry of Healing a title says open air. Christ did most of his ministries were done on what? In the open air. Okay, so we need to have a place where the shelter is somehow exposed. Or also, we need to know how it feels to sleep outside. We have to know, especially the time when there's no rain. Just like Adam and Eve, they used to sleep outside. They never used to sleep. They were under the tree. Their house was under the tree. Okay. You have to know that. The size of the sanitarium, I was from reading 70 Testimonies for the Church, volume 7, page 86, paragraph 1. Okay? 86, 70, 86, paragraph 1. Okay, the same 70, page 60, paragraph 1, it says location and size. We know, saying we are not to erect the city's large buildings in which to care for the sick, because God has plainly indicated that the sick can better cared for outside of the cities. Okay. Emphasis: we are not to erect in the cities large buildings in which to care for the sick. Okay, so it's not necessary for us to build large buildings in the what? In the cities. Okay, because the sick, they have to be what? They can be taken care of where? in the outside the cities, meaning in the urban area or where the sanitariums are erected. The same, that is page 100, paragraph 170, says it is not the Lord's will for his people to erect mammoth sanitariums anywhere. Okay. So we've seen people who, like the way what do you call, is it Battle Creek Sanitarium, the way they erected, first it was simple according to God's plan. Now they erected the mammoth sanitarium, okay, Battle Creek Sanitarium. But according to God, to the light given, he says it is not the Lord's will for his people to erect mammoth sanitariums anywhere. Many sanitariums are to be established. Many sanitariums are to be established. They are not to be large, but sufficiently complete to do a good and successful work. The reason to why large is not the best, he gives a reason. 70, page 60, paragraph 2. It says, the light that has been given me is that instead of devoting our energies to the upbuilding of a few mammoth medical institutions, we should establish many smaller ones. It is almost impossible to find talent to manage a large sanitarium as it should be managed. The workers are not all under the control of the Spirit of God as they should be, and what the Spirit comes in. Okay. So she gives the reason to why they should not build large or mammoth sanitariums is because it's difficult to manage the workers. Okay, it's difficult to manage the workers. That's what we see from there. Not worldly size and splendor. Never are we to rely upon worldly recognition and rank. Most of people, they want saying, okay, we have to rely on what? On what is recognition and rank. It says, never are we in the establishment of institutions to try to compete with worldly institutions in size or splendor. We are not to do that. We shall gain the victory, not by erecting massive buildings in rivalry with our enemies or with the conventional world, okay, but by cherishing a Christ-like spirit, a spirit of meekness and lowliness. Better far the cross and disappointed hopes with eternal life at last than to live with princes and forfeit heaven. So no matter how small it will be, it says it's better for the cross than disappointed hopes with eternal life at last, okay, than to live with princes and forfeit heaven. To live with princes and forfeit heaven is like you like the way Keagan did. He built Battle Creek very big and forgot God, and he became very rich. What happened? He forfeited heaven. He will not be saved. You understand? So it's better, to remain even in our poverty than to forfeit heaven. Okay. No matter how simple we may be, we have to maintain as long as it is in God's accordance. Okay. So who are to establish sanitariums? It says, medical ministry, page 25, paragraph 3, says, God says, there shall be institutions established under the supervision of men who have been healed through a belief in God's word, and who have overcome their defects of character, and sanitariums are to be established in all through our world and managed by a people who are in harmony with God's laws. It says, where all through our world. Sanitariums have to be what? To be established. And they should be managed by people who are in harmony with God's laws. A people who will cooperate with God in advocating the truth that determines the case of every soul for whom Christ died. Okay, so these people, they have to know the truth. Not the people who are managing sanitariums, they are void of the truth. Okay, how are they going to determine the cases of every soul for whom Christ died? How? How are they going to be fountain of living life? Okay. So it tells you here, this is what, this is what book? It says, no portion of the Lord's vineyard has greater possibilities for doing good than the sanitarium. Understand? For doing good. Because one, the sanitarium will have influence to win whether the poor or the rich. Is going to be ministered to diseases of both spiritual and physical. Okay. Then it says, no portion of the Lord's vineyard has greater possibility for doing good than the sanitarium. Okay. Because you are going to win, whether you like it or not, you are going to win the low class and the higher class. Okay. You are going to win the people in the spiritual method or physical method. Okay. So it has greater possibilities for doing good.
Okay. PH, it means health, philanthropic, and medical missionary work.
Okay. So we understand philanthropic, Banda, philanthropic, we understand. We have to be okay, we have to be doing the cause of God or the cause of good.
More free of charge.
Yes, yes. Country center. Says the sanitariums established in the future are not to be immense, expensive buildings. Small local sanitariums are to be established in connection with our schools. So sanitariums have to be erected with connection with our schools. They should be small. Okay. Many sanitariums are to be established in places outside the cities. Connected with them, they are to be men and women of ability and consecration, who will conduct themselves in the love and fear of God. These institutions are to be training schools. OSDA institutional activity. This is manuscript statement 154, year 1902. It says, God's purpose in giving the third angel's message to the world is to prepare a people to stand true to him during the investigative judgment. This is the purpose for which we establish and maintain our publishing houses, our schools, our sanitariums, hygienic restaurants, treatment rooms, and food factories. This is our purpose in carrying forward every line of work in the cause. So we see the reason to why all these have to be established, the camp, is because is to prepare the people for the what? For the investigative judgment. And we know the investigative judgment has two phases. It is the judgment of what? There is the judgment of the dead and the judgment of what? Of the living. So that's the reason. If a person says, okay, why are we establishing what? Publishing houses? It's because of the investigative judgment. Preparing for the people for that. Why schools? Why sanitariums? Why hygienic restaurants? Why treatment rooms? And why food factories? It's not, we should not only end sanitariums. No. We should not end on the publishing houses. No. We should go. Restaurants, they should be erected. We should have health restaurants. You know, people are eating bad food. Okay, if we begin to prepare good food, okay, people will be saved through this. Because a lot of people, they like good food. And we know most of people they are stopping. Others, I hear now people saying, I've stopped eating what do you call red meat. Because people now they are beginning to be aware, saying, meat is bad. So they're saying they eat white meat. Others they say, okay, they are stopping to eat meat at all. They have remained, they are not SGs. They have stopped eating meat. And most of the diseases that have come demands them to stop eating meat. Okay, so we have to have restaurants, hygienic restaurants, which will meet such standards. Once those standards are met, most of people will be coming. They'll be coming. Okay, and the food factories, which we have to do. Then this is how our purpose will be carried forward.
I think, Brother Keagan, this is the wonder. You go back to the same statement. You see, what are we being told? It's saying God's purpose in giving the third angel's message. Just like we know that this sanitarium way, healthy foods, they came in as a what? A hand to the body. So the body is the third angel's message that we should be able to give to the world. Now, just like I gave the example that we as people have painted the banner of the three angels' messages in a different color, and we have virtually killed the what? The message. So, if you are not strict to the three angels' message, are you sure you'll be able to build sanitariums? Are you going to even have food restaurants or factories to produce food for people? Do you see that what God now is doing is he has come back to us and said, the few, remember the quote was saying that the few, isn't it, who are awake on these things, they will be able now to do what? To bring our standard back to where we were before we merged it ourselves. So do you see that connected to this building of sanitarium must be the banner raised of the three angels' messages? Because that one, when they see it as they are healing and they see the banner of the three angels' message, they will be asking, what about that one? You see? Then you start explaining. Because when you look at the first angel's message, like, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come. You are virtually starting from Genesis. You see? You come to the second angel's message, say, Babylon has fallen. What happened? Inspiration tells us, so even those institutions that God was using, like the Methodists, the Millerites, the Baptists, when they rejected the truth of the investigative judgment starting in 1844, they partially failed. And God stopped using them. Do you know why? That is why they don't have the sanctuary truth. Neither do they understand the word. So that is our responsibility. Of the three angels' messages, the only one which was proclaimed to be in the future at the time of understanding them is just the third angel's message. Remember that the first angel's message, we understood, say, when Miller started those expositions, it was sounding the first angel's message. It started way back somewhere in the 1830s, right? Then when you come to Babylon has fallen, the second angel's message, they came to know it after God now tells them that those churches or institutions that did not accept that Jesus was to move from the holy to the most holy at the termination of 2,300 prophecy, they failed. But of the third angel, it is projected in the future to say, what is the mark of the beast? People needed to know. It is Sunday sacredness. When is it? When Sunday law enforcement will begin. Are you seeing? So you see that if these things are taught to the patients, do you know that even their sickness will be more like will sink into oblivion because they'll be looking forward to say, how should I stand when these things shall be? Are you seeing? So these are things that we have ourselves killed. Now, for God to come back like he's telling us in MS 154, that we have the responsibility now of not only publishing, at least you see, bit by bit we are publishing some of the printings of God's messages, but we have no license to publish the spiritual prophecy books, right? We see that the publishing houses that we are doing them have either been stopped or closed. I don't know what is happening with them. So what is the shop now for people? It is technology. They just download books on the phone. But at least we have the privilege of printing the shepherds. So we should be able to do those. Now, we're talking of schools. We don't have any school. And here we are told that most of the things that we learn at those schools are promoting self, and they are leading us to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Whereas these schools should be able to teach the truth of God. Then sanitariums, that is helping the sick. Hygienic restaurants. It means therefore that if we are able to be, like he mentioned, Brother Keagan mentioned that people, when they look at you, they say, what have you applied? What do you apply on your body? Then you tell them, I'm a vegetarian. Outright, they will not know how to prepare those foods. Let them, especially, remember the other time we were saying that we should be able to prepare our meetings where people can come to sample our foods, right? So it means therefore that we need to know how to cook. We need to have these restaurants. Then in treatment rooms, of course, we know what else goes along with the sanitariums and food factories. If we say Bundu is good, but people don't eat it right, then we'll be able to package it in a form that can be able to be beneficial to people. Then they will be able to appreciate. That through this, God is saying that this is our purpose in carrying forward every line of our work in this cause or in the cause of God. So are you saying that it is not necessarily boasting that I know the shepherd's rod, I know this, but it is in us putting the shepherd's rod into what? Practice. Putting the word of God into practice. If people don't know how to cook, they will come to us, we start teaching them. Now imagine you also don't know how to. That's what we are saying, that what is the benefit that we are going to offer to the people. So, beloved, God is saying that we have this work to do. Let us begin slowly but surely. I'm sure maybe that's the comment that I'm seeing over there. Oh, okay. That was Brother Ngoma saying a philanthropist is someone who donates their time, money, skills, or talent to help create a better world. Okay, thank you so very much, Brother Ngoma. Back to Brother Keagan.
Yeah. Councils on Health, page 481, paragraph 1. Councils on Health, page 481, paragraph 1. It says, we must do more than we have done to reach the people of our people. We are not to erect large buildings in the cities, but over and over again, the light has been given me that we should establish in all our cities small plants which shall be centers of influence. Yes, of course, there are a lot of people who think saying, because she forbid to erect sanitariums in the cities, we should not have plants at all. No, she says we should erect. We should erect centers. Those which are in the cities, she called them influencing centers. Centers of influence. Small are supposed to be built in the cities, in all the cities. Okay. Of Zambia. All the cities of Zambia, we should have centers of influence. Then we should have sanitariums like Lusaka province. In Lusaka province, we should have the sanitarium in Lusaka province. Okay, in the urban or in the countryside, because there are places in Lusaka province where we call them 20 miles, 20 miles. 20 miles away from, so we should have a sanitarium. Then also in the city, we should have an influencing center. Those influencing centers, once people reach there, then we'll be referring people to where? To the sanitarium in Lusaka, but it is away from what? The city limits. That's how board planned. Okay, the work to be done. Also, likewise, it's the same. It's the same when it goes to, the publishing house, the Entering Wedge Society. Entering Wedge Society was erected for such also. There's the Entering Wedge Society, where the books, we have the books, we have in the city, we have the Entering Wedge Society, where all the people would get the books, where to get the books, the Entering Wedge from. Okay. And where we also we get the books and to dish out to the people. The Entering Wedge Society should be in the city. And in all cities, we're supposed to have such. CH468, paragraph 1, says, in every city where we have a church, CH468, paragraph 1, says, in every city where we have a church, there is need of a place where treatment can be given. So you've seen, even in the city, where there is a church, there are supposed to be what also? Treatment what? Treatment rooms. Okay, it says, in every city where we have a church, there is a need of a place where treatment can be what? Can be given. Among the homes of our church members, there are a few that afford room and facilities for the proper care of the sick.
468, paragraph 1.
At church, others will see people, they are seated, then they have heart attack or they fall. How are you going to treat them? Understand? At church. Others also are afflicted by evil what? By demons. Others they manifest in the church. How are you going to treat them? Why are you going to treat them? Here it says, at every church in the city, we're supposed to have a place where treatment can be given. Among the homes of our church members, there are a few that afford room and facilities for the proper care of the sick. A place should be provided where treatment may be given for common ailments. The building might be inelegant and even rude, but it should be furnished with facilities for giving simple treatments. These skillfully employed would prove a blessing not only to our people but to their neighbors, and might be the means of calling the attention of many to health principles. Okay, imagine if all of us we had such. Today, there are a lot of people, for instance, who have a lot of conditions in their lives. If our churches, because our churches today, there are a lot. Seventh-day Adventist churches, there are a lot. So if we had such or influencing centers also erected with the church, and we have labor wards, antenatal wards, you understand? How are we going to be winning a lot of people? We'll be winning my babies, mothers, you understand? We'll be winning people who are afflicted in the night, because most of the people in the compound, because once they go, I see people, they flock. Once they go to UTH, most of them, UTH is the last alternative. It's the last alternative. They go to Chipata, they know that they will spend much time, they spend all of their time there, making queues, Making queues. They don't want such. They want things that will be, if we have a lot of them, Even time, most of people will be coming to our hours, and in a short time, we'll be handling them and we'll be taking care of their conditions. Look at this. What do you call? Is it Coptic? Coptic is not run by the government. Okay, we can say that it's run by the church, but though it is mammoth, because council has told us not to build such, but look at the influence it has now. It has a large influence. They're using drugs there, but look at the influence it is having. There are a lot of what you call institutions or clinics or hospitals they've built. They have influence. In near our place where we stay, in Chipata, we have a hope. It's a hope Christ what? They built just like a small, they don't know. Those are Sunday people. They don't even know Ellen White. They don't even know this health reform which we have. But they have built a school like this one. Then in there is what you call, they do mass scans, they do antenatal, they do and people come, they flock there around the Chipata. Them, they have a school, they have a school, hope what? They have a church, they have also the clinic. Hope, I think you I don't know those who've gone there. Then people, they're able to flock. Those who are sick, they go to their clinic. School children, they go to their school. Then a church is still there. Okay, that's what they've done, and they do not know of this truth. They don't know. I don't know if that person was once an SDA. I don't know, but that is the example that we can see. Okay, from the world. Okay. So the restaurants also, yeah, restaurants. Yeah, I think I've read this one. Okay, I've read this one. So we have to be distinct. We know we have to be different. Don't know what code this one is. It says God gave the church a new work for the world. Along with that new work came a new word, sanitarium. This was to show a clear distinction between his work and the medical work of the world. Early in SDA history, the word sanitarium was widely used. However, it is difficult to find the word sanitarium among our institutions today, because I think this is the reason to why we have to discuss the sanitarium, because others, they've stopped using the word sanitarium. But we have to begin to use sanitarium. But how are we going to make the use of sanitarium once we establish them? Once we establish sanitariums, most of people, they are going to call sanitariums. We're going to be hearing people calling sanitariums everywhere, because it will be doing the work that it's supposed to do. And we should not be embarrassed of who we are. 107 to 108, we should not be embarrassed of who we are. Now and ever, we are to stand as a distinct, peculiar people. Distinct means different. 107 to 108. It says, now and ever, we are to stand as a distinct and peculiar people, free from all worldly policy. Free from all worldly policy and embarrassed. Okay, and embarrassed by confederating with those who have not wisdom to discern God's claims, so plainly set forth in his law. Okay. Yes, those people, people would want to confederate, to make a coalition with us. But once we see that these people, they don't understand the claims of God, we can't make a coalition with them. All our medical institutions are established as Seventh-day Adventist institutions to represent the various features of gospel medical missionary work, and thus to prepare the way for the coming of the Lord. We are to show that we are seeking to work in harmony with heaven. The Lord is testing his people to see who will be loyal to the principles of his truth. Okay. So we have to be distinct and unembarrassed. Aye. Not eating that so in no, we should not do that. I see people, they're embarrassed because of this way. BCAO 51 paragraph 3 says, why are sanitariums established if it is not that they may be the right hand of the gospel in calling the attention of men and women? BCL 51 paragraph 3. BCL 51 paragraph 3 says, why are sanitariums established if it is not that they may be the right hand of the gospel in calling the attention of men and women to the truth that we are living amid the perils of the last days? Ati? 51, paragraph 3. Okay, so this is the right hand of the gospel. It's calling attention to all the people to the truth that we are living amid the perils of the last days. We have to know that. So there are a lot of confederacies that we are warned not to join, of course, which will give, Ellen White, she wrote this before the light of the Confederates, you know that. So we should be geared, because she warned us of just making unnecessary confederacies, which can hook us into the Confederates. So we should be geared to know that we should not make unnecessary collision with the world, which will yoke us into a what? A confederate. We should be geared not to do that. That's the reason we should register ourselves. No, we say non-political organization, not affiliated with any, non-profit and non-political.
Yeah, but if you have looked, Keagan, these things are happening now under the guise of maybe better help for humanity or regulation. Actually, they call it for better regulations. You find that unknown, like taxi drivers, they find that somebody wakes up and says, Taxi Drivers Association. And then you find that that individual says, I'm speaking on behalf of what? Taxi drivers. And you find that those people have never had a meeting where all of them were present to discuss such things. And so you find that as he is being sponsored, you'll be able to co-opt a few taxi drivers, and when they speak, they say, oh, as taxi drivers, this is what we have agreed. When they have they've never had any meeting, okay? So if you don't speak in line with that, you are not our member. And then you find that suddenly they develop what? Power and control over individuals that they did not know. Same applies with this what we are calling NEMA. When it is started, they just said, oh, NEMA has benefits for those who are working. When you contribute to this amount, you can be able to receive free things like glasses. I mean, those who with the eye problems, they are given free specs. You see that, right? But today, the hospital are saying that if you are not on NEMA, we are not attending. Are you seeing how these characters are slowly but surely co-opting people into confederacies and knowing? So somebody feels like, okay, let me just join. After all, it's only 10 kwacha or 20 kwacha per month or stuff like that. Eventually, we see that these things will grow and they will demand a lot. Are you seeing? So I was just trying to give examples of how we should be wary. Like here, Brother Keagan, the point you are showing. Sister White was writing these things some time ago. She mentions things like American Medical Association. Why American Medical Association? It means, therefore, that many people were told to say, if you are not affiliated, you can't practice. Are you seeing how even nurses in Zambia are done? They go to the General Council of Nursing in the Kamara area, and also their headquarters now have moved to, is it Msondangosa Road near ZRA? So every year the nurses have to register and have to apply. If they have no practicing license for that year, they can't practice. So wherever you are in Zambia, I'm sure you have seen, or maybe because of the nature of things we do, every year we see nurses coming to be taken there just for re-registration. Imagine every year, and they pay subscription fees for fear of not practicing for as long as they don't have a certificate for that year. Also, she says, Association America Medical College. So you see, they would say that if anyone claims that he's a healer or is practicing medicine, if he's not recognized by us, then it means he can't do what? Practice. That is what they are trying to say. So these are some of the confederates that Brother Keagan has brought us to, which are showing that truly they are trying to stop people from doing that which they know unless they do it under the regulation of those. Like the one that caught my attention was the Accreditation Council of Graduate Medical Education. This is the accreditation board. So we see that this one is more like, even if you are qualified, if these have not accredited you or given you permission to practice, you can enroll with your degree or degrees, isn't it, Keagan? So they must accredit you. You see? So these are things that we need to be careful of. Just like Keagan, when you are mentioning that when we establish these sanitariums, we'll be able to bring ourselves to a place where we'll be recognized or seen, right? But let us ever remember that with that recognition, there will come a lot of accusation. They will be accusing us. Who gave you the authority to start this? They will not be happy that you are healing people, but they will try to close down the institution because some medical institution will say, we don't know this organization. We wonder what is he operating. I don't know how many of us ever knew that I have forgotten the name, but Sister Gertrude Mankwe, she was running an institution by Motaxis Beauty. What was she calling it? Where she was healing people using natural things. Then one day she was invited on radio, and there came a doctor. So she was asked, how do you do some of these your things? She said, no, we went to learn the way of massaging using the fingers and a lot of other things that she learned from South Africa. Then that doctor just went like, you see, the great ignorance. You kill people. And then Madame Mangwe started laughing. I think from that time that they held that program, her business started doing what? Going down and down and down. It was called Swiss Guard. You remember that Swiss Guard thing? Yes. You see? So they have a way of suppressing when you are trying to heal naturally, because that's what she was promoting. So I know that whilst we do the best that God is requiring and people get healed, let us ever remember that Caesar's men will also come. These are things that we should, they are also facts, isn't it? Yeah, so we should be ready for such. Thank you.
So any questions also from, contributions from the group, from those here, the audience and those that are online? Yes, Father Bernard.
Maybe that's also perhaps a different way of looking at things.
Closer.
Of course, yeah, the microphone, notice the microphone is a bit low. Yeah. The court, of course, it forbids our sanitariums, our institutions forbids us from having a confederence with the institutions of the world, because because there are some kind of bundles. There are ideas being put in bundles and all that. But there's something that we can learn from these associations that they come up with. For example, the nurses, they choose to grant licenses to certain people, and they can even revoke those licenses if somebody does not practice according to their standards or fails to reach the standards. So we can just learn from them. There's in the Leviticus, it should be Article 1, Section 1C, the bylaws. It says that the association has got the right to grant licenses also. I'm sure there was a ministerial license that was being granted, I think, at the time by the hotel. So I believe that we can also learn from the way they practice in trying to maintain the acceptable standards of practice. Because if we have medical practitioners in our midst, then we should have a certain standard, acceptable standard of practice. And a misconduct, a failure to reach that standard should result in revoking such a practice, because would want the people receiving the service to receive a certain level of a certain acceptable level. That was my contribution.
Thank you. Yeah. Any more contributions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. Contribution yanga nenzo contribute padi wamene kwati library wenzo wakambira padi association yena ngwamene yamayambira kwati yali personal but kwenda kusogolo yachita include all. Like example yamene nifuna nipase example yamene inapwera yamba chape in a few, but by this time ndi yamene ilina more raw kuchita kungenesa bantu bambiri muri the same situation, included na churches manje by this time bachita force parija point what like yamene wakamba ati insurance pamene inayambira pa first chapter pamene inayamba benzo chita chabati wamene ali na motoka wamene afuna kuchita insure abwera chabe personal siwenzo forcing asiwenzo chita anything, but by this time kagula chabe motoka without insurance suye yambokosa. By this time zapeza churches manje ali wonse manje muntu amene aenda jana itali bamuza tufunika kuchita insure yamboenda manje muchani churches. So what like mwamene wakambira kuli ma thoughts yena mwamene yaporo kutitika, but it is still available none can around what like example ya leader family tukamba pali centennial mukangana maruzi amene manapasa kuti centennial mwamene bachita chabe personal nani kane medicine maruzi mdabo chabe niyo kosa kuchira na bantu bamene bali naku nani kane kuma drugs tu mukangana bantu bamene mamifesingani ni ma C5 wewe bamikani ko pali ma murders. Why kuri yonsa bafuna musachite practice the original way amene mulungu afunira. So that's why it very very important tukapunzira nochita nani kane mulungu azatusta guide, because ni ntchito yake. Satan afuna ku breaking apa kuti musachite succeed, but mulungu ali na way. Ziko.
Thank you. Any more contributions from the audience? Hello?
Hello. Yes, yes, my contribution is I also want to agree with what the earlier brother spoke about, learning from the licenses that are being given to, it's not just nurses, it's all professions. It's basically to regulate how the profession is being conducted or handled in the in the world, in the business world, as you give the service, whatever service that you're giving. So I think we can also learn from that. Because if you just have anyone, especially when it comes to the medical field, if you have everyone, we have instances, like I work in a hospital. We have instances of people who come and pretend to be a doctor and then issuing medicine that isn't supposed to be issued to patients, endangering the life of the patients. And once they are caught, they find that that person has not gone to school to study, whether it's medicine, whether it's nursing. So if they regulate on giving licenses, then at least they'll know that the people that are giving that service are qualified to offer that service. So we can also learn from that. As we also have these sanitarians, we may not be given licenses, but I think it's important that those people that are put in the sanitarians should be qualified. So I don't think it's a bad thing, really. Then also, I feel that herbal medicines, not just the ones that SDAs sell, but even other people that are advocating for healthy living and selling herbal medicines, I think they're just too expensive. When you compare to the conventional medicine, that's what I think discourages people to opt to use herbal medicines, because they are so expensive. I don't know whether the cost of making those medicines, the herbal medicines, is expensive as well. That's why the medicines tend to be pegged at high cost. I'm not sure. But I think when you compare some of surgical procedures, of course, in the conventional world is expensive, but the medicines, when you compare the conventional medicines to the herbal medicines, however, they are very expensive. I think that's what discourages people to opt to take herbal medicines as compared to conventional medicine. So that should be looked at. They should be at the reach of even just the poor people. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Okay, Brother Ngoma, you can come in before Brother Piri come.
Oh, I thought maybe we deal with the smokers.
We have about 3.
Oh, it's 3 minutes. Oh.
No, not 3 minutes.
Oh,
Three concerns from him and Brother Chimuka.
Yeah.
Yes, Brother Ngoma, we're going to deal with the problem. I think they are being.
Oh, thank you so much. Am I audible enough?
Yes, Brother.
Yeah, am I audible?
Very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, in appreciation to what Sister Chimuka has contributed, and also Brother Chiwale and everyone else, I want to add on to say, just the same way the Leviticus brought the policy or the laws about how a minister should be considered to be a qualified minister. That is after taking a training, and then after taking a training, then also the certificate of fellowship. So the same way should a health practitioner be considered. First, after taking a training, and after getting that training, then that certificate is just a formal approval that this person have undergone the training of the institution or the association. And then not only that, in that training, those practitioners will not only be taught the healthy principles and what to do when it comes to healing, but also what the gospel teaches about what God tells us not to fear what these institutions will bring about in terms of threatening. So those health practitioners, when they will have both the health message and also the gospel message, they will not fear to be answerable of God's cause, because giving out of those certificates, each and every individual will have to stand for themselves. They'll have to stand for themselves. So in regard to those threats which will be coming from elsewhere, as Satan will bring about, each and every individual, because of the power of the gospel message, they will be able to stand for themselves and answer for God's cause, answer for their cause. So this is just what I wanted to contribute and encourage the brethren to say, we have nothing to fear because this is not our cause, it is God's cause. We would have feared if it was the government's cause, because those people who are being trained in government institutions, they care less whether they treat a person or not, because it's none of their concern. As long as they get their reward at the end of the month. But in this regard, if we receive the gospel message, we will know that whatsoever we will be doing, it is a concern for each and every one's soul and each and every one's salvation in eternity, and also God's matter. So having had known and understood this according to every health practitioners, they will have all their lives, all their hearts placed upon the work, such that whatsoever threat comes, they will have placed their hearts and lives on the platter. Come what may, they will stand for the cause. Otherwise, let us take courage, let us take heart and not fear what the governments are bringing, but let us just follow on as God leads and guides. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Ngoma. Brother Christopher.
Okay, so I think part of what I wanted to say, Brother Ngoma has covered. So what we are saying is learning from what these our friends are doing in regulation is important, just like we have also our bylaws that regulates us. But the point we are talking on is when these institutions are threatened, this is the part that I'm saying Brother Ngoma has answered. When they feel threatened that people are knowing, because what it is people will be knowing the truth that water heals as opposed to drugs. Are you seeing that? That's why I was saying that eventually, even as you are able to give your own people, there will be these ones who will rise up and say, no, we don't approve these ones. So that is what we are saying. Not that we are looking at us not having credentials or amongst ourselves. That we will have. But I was saying that when we have and are doing them well and people are realizing, let us ever bear in mind that those who rise up against us saying that they have not approved our way of doing things. That's what I was saying, that we should be wary. Now, like we are saying that we have a point of learning, I will give another example. When you have this conventional medicine and people were healed, there was a near frustration that these people who call themselves herbalists were antagonized by the conventional people. Remember, they called them witches. Until they were able to form their association, I think it was under Vongo, Dr. Vongo, if you remember, where he was saying traditional herbalists. Yes, you remember that confusion that arose at one time, even here in Zambia, that is. So you see that these ones, they saw that when people were getting healings from these guys, they were losing a lot of patients because some people were questioning, none of these strong medicines and a lot of money was spent to get healing. So those now sat and tried to frustrate the work of these, to say, no, these medicines cannot work. And they brought in the issue. I think there's many a time you hear certain words that you don't pay attention. The medicine is not approved. Traditional medicine. So they've never tried that medicine. Even the dose, it is at one's own risk and stuff like that. When you look at our medicine, dosage is known. Like they will say, if somebody is 4 years, what quantity would you give? Such questions arose. Are you seeing? So you find that they look for flimsy excuses just to downplay not the healing properties that somebody's medicine is healing, but that they doubt whether it is in the right quantity or they say maybe it is by accident that somebody was healed. And they go to the extent of even asking, say, okay, show us how did you know that that person had malaria? Are you get the point, eh? Yeah, what tests did you conduct? So those are some of the things that were brought up. So I was just bringing that scenario to say, when we bring back the institutions of God as we are learning, as God has approved, let us be wary that those who still do what? Arise. That's what I was saying. So thank you so much for those ones. That's what I wanted to comment on.
Okay, I wanted to address, you want to come in again? Okay, this is 12:32.
Okay, since we have power, we are not going to chat. So,
okay. Then, and you can come in. I wanted to address this one. Yes, but
you can come and sit here.
Thank you. Nenzofuna kukamba padi the issue amene nenzo nyamula ba sister ndani padi medicine yama herbs, they are more expensive than any other amene iri ku down. Mukangana padi I part, if SDA they respond kuri I message yenzofunika kupasa freely. That's why yabwerera kwambo punzira pakutuziva that this message is free, not pay. Because mukangana pali I point, that's why mzapeza ati chifuta no kamba ati I munkwala wamene mutakinga ni poison because we've pasa free. Imo muchita chani mugurisa. So they are very difficult kuchita kubauza a original way chamene chita chamene chapangiwa. Because mukapeza mostly bambiri bamene badiringana na ma herbs vaziva the quantity yamene vapangira zija mikwala na ma chemicals yamene vaikamu na poison yamene irimo, because vachita reduce the poison yaija pakuti ibwere mu quantity yakuti ingare kwati ni medicine. That's why ipanga machaini side effects, because ija chemical ikapaka mbodi iboro nkala ni poison. That's why yakamwa mukwala wambiri uchita chani umupaya. But mukaenda kuma herbs muntu nangu amkamu over si mupaya. Why? Is a food supplement. Manje problem yamene iripo vamankala worried because ya chani rule yamene manapasa government kupasa SDA. So church imapunzisa concerning health, but singenamo full time because kuwepa chani ma rules. Nde ija point yamene akamba ba brother mkati kambati tufunika not kuyopa. Because ni mulungu amene atutuma nochita chani. That's why mzapeza most foot van muno mulusaka. Once ukaenda munkwala tinteni kwacha vazakuuza ati I think is a wrong medicine. Why achipaso? Vafuna chintu chili chani expensive chamene vazaona chintu chochita chani chitandiza. So vambiri vamene vadiringana na ma herbs vakonka majority. Not mwamene Bible mwamene ikambira, not the way yamene ichita chani ichita the address. So nde pamene pankala maningi problem, but pamene tuziva the truth tufunika tuziva ati I medicine nangu tunapunzira ku skulu tunachita chani tunalitirirapo ndrama tufunika oika pa price according na spirit of prophecy pamene tuza pakuti muntu ali wonse achita chani marriage to buy. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if I still have time, but this is 12:35. I need to handle there are three concerns that were brought. The first one was regulation, which is Brother Bernard's brought the issue of regulation as nurses, just like nurses. Council has told us saying we should not dare copy from that institutions or institutions run by the world. Actually, Ellen White was very clear on that one, but I will be able to read more quotes pertaining to this one. You know, the goodness with religion is that we don't follow what people think. A person can have diversity of thoughts, but all of us we are subject to one ruling, that is God. Christ, we have to obey the laws of Christ. Okay, whether a person is high ranked or low ranked, all of us we are subject to what? To one ruling. That is Christ. Okay, one master. So therefore, we have to check in council what council has told us. Like the earlier quotes we read says we should not copy the pattern of we read those. Let me just read also this one, the one which is in direct in terms of regularity. This one, let me show you. Okay, I can begin from where? Okay. Yeah. You can read about period.
I read this one.
No, this one. This quote here.
Okay.
Before I go there was an example. I know I'll not give that history. Let me just read the quotes. You can just read.
It is an error to tie up everything possible. Oh, okay. That is coming from SHM 310, paragraph.
No, not this. This one, go down.
Huh?
The down here.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm told to read the second one, which is SPM 194. SPM 194. Let me just give the correct meaning of SPM. Okay. SPM 194.
Paragraph 5.
Okay, it is entitled Spalding and Morgan Collection. Spalding and Morgan Collection, page 194, paragraph 5.
Yes, you can read it.
Okay.
Can read it.
This one went to the wrong. Look, it is showing SPM 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so it missed out 194.
Okay.
Okay, it says, if this is working in the regular lines, it is high time that we worked in irregular lines.
Yeah, you have to read the complete
So,
thought.
yes, because it's like it's everything.
Okay, I wanted to this. Okay. Okay, you can read it. Okay. You've gotten that thought. The thought, it is coming from somewhere, but it is showing you saying that we have to work in what?
Irregular line.
Irregular line, not regular. It says irregular line. At first, Ellen White, when you check her light, the truth, she was first shown saying, okay, we have to work in the regular line. Then as she was advancing, the Lord told her, saying, no, don't
follow the word.
Don't follow the regular line. Is to work in the irregular line. She emphasized on that one. Okay. The reason being, she said, because the regular line has made the work not to what? Not to work. It is the one that has made the work not to be progressive. There are a lot of courses pertaining to this. This one is coming from this one, manuscript releases, 20 manuscript releases, page 142, this one, 142, manuscript releases, 20 manuscript. Yeah. Manuscript.
20 manuscript releases?
Yes, page 142. Because she gave an example. She also gave the example of the time of Jesus Christ, saying that the regular line during that time was, you remember, Judaism church. They had the Pharisees and what. But Jesus Christ was accused of forming the secret society. Remember the story? Eh? Okay. But Jesus Christ was not following the what? The regular line. Was following the irregular line. The regular line is the one that injured the work. She gave that example. Okay. Let me Yeah, you can read it. It says, yeah, it begins, says, God alone can make men understand.
Okay. It says,
The truth.
yes.
Why else?
Okay. You can see on top of 142, but I don't know exactly.
No, you're not doing space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it begins even here. You can begin from here. It says, when your letter.
Okay.
Let me check out.
That will be paragraph 3 is this one.
This is paragraph 1. It's paragraph 3. Okay,
Go
begin from
up,
paragraph
please.
3.
Okay. So God's principles. I'm seeing.
Just begin from here. This 1 year later. This.
Okay. Okay. That will be paragraph 4. It says.
Paragraph 3. No, it's paragraph 4.
Yeah. Paragraph 3 is up here.
Okay. Can begin with that one.
Okay. It says, I must now keep away from congregations as much as possible. If I could spend some months in a retired spot where I would not see the faces of so many who need reforming, my mind would be at peace and rest. I would be better able to present the dangers and perils threatening those in responsible positions. Paragraph 4. When your letter and Elder Kilgore's regarding the work in Nashville were read to me, a great burden came upon me, and for a time I thought that my reason would give away. I was so weary, having just come from the Portland camp meeting and having labored very hard while there, that I was in no condition to have such matters brought before me. It takes so long for our leading brethren to read beneath the surface that I feared that perhaps I had said something which would have been better deferred in regard to the publishing work in Nashville being conducted as separate and independent from the work in Battle Creek. So often, the same odd difficulties arise and are presented in regard to disturbing the regular lines. But God will work in some way to make his people understand that regular lines have become full of irregular practices. In an open bracket, the phrase regular lines referred to the publishing work at Battle Creek. The irregular practices included the exercise of kingly authority, that is PM 132, the printing of the soul-destroying theories of Romanism, Testimonies for the Church, Volume 8, page 92, and a variety of other improprieties. See the publishing ministry, pages 127 to 178. Okay, close bracket. Then it says, meanwhile, in 1894, Ellen White's son, Edison, had begun a privately supported ministry for the blacks in Mississippi and Tennessee. Edison's sacrificial publishing ventures in the South, while independent of the regular lines, received Ellen White's strong sympathy and support. Okay, going on to paragraph 5. I continue.
Okay. Is it this one? Where did you reach?
I've ended.
Catecism, right?
No.
I don't think this one. Oh, it's started from here.
No, yours. If you go up
Okay.
to this one. Yeah. So, continuing on page 143, it says, God alone can make men's minds as they should be. Is it one?
God alone can make men understand.
This one.
Yes, sir. God alone can make men.
Okay. No. Okay. God alone can make men understand that working on irregular lines has led to irregular practices. God alone can make men's minds as they should be. The time has come when we should hear less in favor of the regular lines. If we can get away from the regular lines into something which, though irregular, is after God's order, it may cut away something of the irregular working which has led away from Bible principles.
Okay.
Then God's principles?
Yes.
Okay, God's principles, that is now 143, paragraph 3. It says, God's principles are the only safe principles for us to follow. Phariseeism was filled with regular lines, but so perverted were the principles of justice that God declared, judgment is turned away backwards, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. How true these words have proved. That is where.
So I think you've gotten that quote. There's another one. This one, paragraph 5.
Paragraph 5, it says,
it is hard today to break away from the regular lines. I don't know if you are getting this. Are you getting what this is saying?
It is as hard today to break away from the regular lines as it was in Christ's day. We have had great light. Let us not become narrow. Let us break the bonds which bind us. Christ is the source of all true growth, the maintainer of all life. By his Holy Spirit, he communicates heavenly principles and furnishes spiritual life.
I hope you've understood anyway. Let me check. On the part of regularity, Ellen White, she received. At first, when you check her quotes, she was thinking, saying we have to follow the regular way. Then God gave her light before she died, saying no, the regular way is not the way to go. Says it's the irregular way. That's the reason she had to write in the way she wrote. Okay. Yeah.
If you can come closer. Oh, maybe Brother Bernard is saying maybe he did not understand.
I was hoping to tackle the issue of licenses because I referred to the Leviticus, that's bylaws article 1, section 1C, which says that the association has the right to grant licenses and certificates. And for example, it grants certificate of fellowship. It also grants licenses to ministers. So it was in that vein that I brought out that concern. So I was hoping that in the quotes that you would bring out, maybe, so that's why I said maybe I didn't get it. I was hoping that you would bring out a very clear statement to say that when it comes to the medical practice, then everyone that chooses to practice their own way, they should be allowed to practice in their own way without any form of regulation or observance. And I think one of the reasons I didn't mention directly is because sometimes the conduct of a person can be out of the Christian way, and then you allow such a person to continue practicing under the name of the association. Then I don't know how that can be done in reality. For example, Byungam had gone out of the way, and Badahotif had revoked his license as a minister in the association. And sometimes it's discovered in the health profession that somebody's health profession, then they abuse patients. They abuse patients in different ways, physically, sexually, in different ways. They abuse patients, even mentally, they abuse patients. So such individuals, how then can it be done? Maybe there could be just another way. I don't know how it can be done in reality. So that's why I was hoping that maybe I didn't understand from the question that you brought out. How then can, in reality, in such a case that somebody is recognized as a practitioner, but then their conduct is totally out of the way, out of Christian practice. I think that's the in the line which I brought there.
Okay, but did you understand on the issue? Your question you asked is pertaining to licenses and regularity. Okay, did you understand on the point of the regularity and irregularity brought in council, or you are failing to comprehend due to the fact of the points that you brought? What do you mean general? Because you can come close. What do you mean general? Because
yes, that's what I'm saying, that I may not have gotten you specifically. So
I was quoting, I wasn't.
Sorry?
I was quoting, I wasn't.
Yes, you quoted. So maybe I didn't get the point that was coming from the quote. You say that the licensing part, maybe I didn't get it.
No, the point was not on the license. You can, yes. Because on the point of licensing, I remember even Minister of Healing talks of licensing. There's the point you study that one, but the licensing you can license. The point is the issue of monitoring and regulation. That's the point. Because there are a lot of institutions where they would license. Most of people, they'll go for training. They'll license. Okay. But the issue of regulation. Spirit of prophecy is clear to regulate. The issue of regulating. Okay. It says the regularity or regulation. Let me give this also the biography 5, biography 71, paragraph 1. It says these were, anyway, this is talking about independent. For instance, let me give example. The people whom, for instance, they've been trained as medical missionaries. Okay, they've been trained. They've given them license. Okay. Then now, how are you going to control them? Those are the costs which we are saying. Okay. Can they become independent? Okay, that's where I was going. Can they become independent? Council tells you saying yes, they can become independent. Understand that? Okay, they can become irregular, in short. Okay, then it tells you now saying, okay, what of now to do the will? Can you invoke their license? The issue, yes, you can invoke your license because it's according to your board. But if for instance, I got your license from the institution, then I begin to practice the will of God, like the way in Christ, or Paul. Let me give the example of Paul. Paul is practicing, he got a license from Judaism, okay? Then he joins a secret society of Jesus Christ. Those, they can invoke his license, but he's going in the irregular way. Those are the quotes. He's going in the irregular way, okay? And in that irregular way, as long as it is of God, okay, there's no way those people, or there's no way he is injuring the work of God. So these quotes which have been brought as long as you see the irregular, let me give the history of also Salem. For instance, what happened with us? Okay, there's a Jew, the line of Bena Judy and the line of Salem International. The line we went is that in this court, if you see in the light of this court, it's the irregular what? Way. Okay? But is it the truth? Are these the truth brought? Though in the light of the beholder may seem to be irregular, because those courts are saying it's what? It's irregular, it's the God's order. Okay. So as we are going in the medical missionary way, or in the field which we'll be doing, Council has brought the light, the truth, saying it's not the issue of the irregularity, it's the issue of the irregular. Issuing licenses, we can issue them, but not to say that we are copying the pattern of the world. Because even the pattern of the world, for instance, me, I can issue the license, the example I've given. But if that license, we discover that according to the written word in the road, that license is not according to that. Although you invoke my license, I have to continue what? Practicing. Okay? Because that's what Council has told us in the light. And there's also the example of the Matson Sanitarium in Council. There's a direct Matson Sanitarium. I didn't have time. Ellen White, they removed, remember first they removed the Seventh-day Adventist Church, removed them. All those who are practicing health reform, they removed them, medical missionary. Then Ellen White, she did make a Matson Sanitarium and the other people independent from who? The authority of what? Of the General Conference. That was the irregular way. But was she in God's order? Okay, were they following the licenses from the what? From the General Conference? No, they were not doing that. But were they in God's order? They were in God's order. You understand that? Just like the way the Davidian has become. There are a lot of them which are in irregular way. Huh? Okay.
So, Brother Ngoma, you have raised your hand. You will close with maybe just make. Is it a question, comment, or contribution?
It is a contribution.
Okay, make it quick.
Yes, I just wanted to comment on in terms of regularity and irregularities. So, going back to the Leviticus, is it possible? It's also part of a question like, so is it possible or will it be possible for an unlicensed member to stand in the place of a minister when it comes to pass that those ministers have been given fellowship cards and then they've started the work like as ministers? So will it be granted by the association for a member of the association to stand in the place of a minister? Or what I meant was, what according to what I'm hearing from Brother Chibwana is that following the Leviticus, we find out that for example, a brother or a sister just comes like today or maybe recently in the association. Okay, let me just summarize this. If peradventure it happens that the brethren have been licensed, that they are, or not licensed, but they've been given certificates to minister as the medical practitioners in the association or in the camp. Now, will it be possible for a member of the association has just come today, they have the knowledge of the word, they have the knowledge of, they've just come from the church, peradventure, they are not the member of the association, they've come today, being converted into the Davidic knowledge, and then they have the knowledge of practicing will it be granted to them to practice as it were in irregular way to participate or to practice as do the licensed members? So that is where my concern was, and we would love to have a clarity and a clear way of understanding on that one.
Okay. So what Brother Ngoma is simply saying is, you have the licensing authority within this institution. Then somebody joins the church today. He understands what must be done and how to practice, but he doesn't have that license. Can he go in the irregular way of practicing that which he knows? Isn't it, Brother Ngoma?
Yes, brother.
Yes. So that is question. Okay.
But brother, before I even tackle this, do you know that even what we are doing today is irregular? If I go in the irregular way, okay, there's no one amongst us who are what? Who are licensed, okay? Even the ministry of Christ, remember even how they began baptizing. John the Baptist was not, he was irregular, okay? We talk of Christ, we talk of the disciples, the apostles, okay? We come down even to when I was looking at how the licensing part came, how we started ordaining from Victor Tasha Houtif, in the standpoint of them, of regularity, he was not in the regular way, but he was irregular. You understand? Okay. The only person amongst them, we can say Wilson was the pastor, was the one who was ordained amongst them. Okay. But we discover that when you go down even the line and how we began even to baptize, remember that we started also baptizing. We started baptizing members. So that was in the irregular way. But let us have this to chew. We have to study it more further. Okay. Then, according to the light of the people, for instance, if we have the board which we are authorizing and we are licensing, it will be in the sight of the people. If I know the truth, then I like, for instance, I baptize, but I'm not ordained. In the sight of the people, will say, you see, what? It's not in the way of God, but is God going to accept it? You understand? Okay? Like the way, remember, Prince's wedding, who blessed it? Brother Na, is it Brother Chira or Brother Walia? The one who was there. Brother Walia, yes. But was he what? Okay. Was he? He was not. He was not. He was not. Or Bapiri can bless my marriage, but is he an elder or what? Or license? No. But is that according to God's side? Is it in God's order? No. I'm saying it's in God's order, but to the people, it's not in God's order. You have to understand that. To the people, it's not in God's order. So we have to understand that. I think Ellen White, the reason why she wrote that, it is beyond. You have to know that we have to thank God. She knew that such a time will come. Even in the time of the end. Remember, as we're near the end, are we going to be waiting for licensed people? No, we're not going to be doing that. There'll be a lot of people in the wake. If I read a lot of quotes, you're going to see that there'll be a lot of people in the wake. Will be baptizing. Others will be making the wake to move forward. Then are they going to be waiting for licensing? No. The protocol will not work. It says that protocol says she's curtailing the protocol.
Yeah, okay. What I've come to understand as we break for lunch, we have gone way beyond our estimated time, and I'm sure maybe the next time we meet, that is 2 weeks from now, we can start from this very point and go forward. One thing I've noted is the question was specific, and in answering, we have now gone general just to look at what happens and where it happens. Because the question was, if somebody is licensed and is misbehaving, don't we have power to look at that one? So we look at it, how is it, because if we had gone the way like, what are we calling misbehaving? Is it doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Then we would have answered this question without going where we went. But now the fact that Brother Keagan has brought us this far, it is showing us that there are things that should be done which God has recommended, which those that feel like they are sensing are not doing. So I think maybe those are two parameters that we went into. So we allowed the debate to go on, so at the end of the day, we may be able to know or the line of thought that we are doing. So we thank God for that. This time, Brother Bernard is going to close for us in prayer. Yeah? Oh, Brother Mnala, Brother Mnala is going to close for us in prayer as we break off for lunch. Remember to also include the food in your prayer.
So we pray. We thank you, our Heavenly Father, for granting us an opportunity to come and meet in the Sabbath, to come and hear and learn your word. As we break for lunch, we ask you to be with us too, bless the food, give us an opportunity again to assemble and continue until the Sabbath ends. So we pray now and leave everything in your hands. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, thank you so much. That was our health segment. We will meet again at 14:30 as we continue with the Bible study. So we are free now to go. Thank you so much for your participation, those of us that were online. Bye-bye.